Hey
Hey
guys,
guys,
welcome
welcome
to
to
Homebody
Homebody
Podcast.
Podcast.
I am your host Gilly with my beautiful co-host,
Dorothy.
and we are here and you guys are watching another episode. So thank you guys for tuning
Thank you
in
guys.
and let's get into this episode.
Welcome to the Homebody Podcast with Gilly and Dorothy.
What's going on everybody? Welcome back. You're back another Monday. We like to release these episodes every Monday at 8 o'clock. So you guys are watching another fresh episode. So thank you guys. And we're gonna get into this week. We got I think today we got a pretty good conversation coming up.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of stuff has been going on this week. How you been this week so far?
I've been good. I started a new job recently this past
Yes,
week.
kudos.
And yeah, and just I'm a lot more tired today than I anticipated, but I'm doing great. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So we're definitely going to talk about that. We need to talk about your new job.
yeah.
And then also too, this week's been kind of crazy because getting everything ready. Our church is moving as
Oh
well too.
yes.
And then our daughter's about to start school here soon.
Hmm.
So that's kind of been kind of wild as
Yeah.
well. And then just in and out the work week in general has been, but also it's been crazy too because this week we finally finalized our name.
Yes.
So now you guys know
We've
this is like a week.
established our
We
name.
established our name, the Homebody.
Yes.
In case you guys don't know that you watched the previous episode, we kind of explained why, but really it's just we're homebody people. Everybody's kind of a homebody themselves. They want to be at home. They want to be with their family,
Yeah.
and we're here on our couch. So literally, it's just
It just describes us the best.
so well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So let us know if you guys like the name. Like I said, you guys could hear us, watch us on YouTube, Spotify. Also hear us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And you can also follow us on Instagram. So make sure you follow us
Yes.
there
Follow
because
us
when
on
we're doing some
Instagram.
giveaways, when we're doing some Q&As, and then you guys can also just keep informed of anything that goes on. And we try to post a lot of clips instead of our own personal pages too. But you can follow us there too. So let's talk about your work. Dorothy
Oh,
has officially started her new job.
yeah.
This is training week.
Yeah.
So how has that been going? I mean, first of all, I just want to say I'm proud of you because I know you were like nervous, and I
Yeah.
think you like to doubt yourself a lot and thinking that you're not capable of doing something, and then because obviously this is you have to speak Spanish, right?
It's a bilingual position.
Bilingual
Yeah.
position, and right away, homegirl's mom is from Mexico, so she said she can't speak Spanish, but I just said just try because there's an increase in pay if you do,
Yeah.
and later she got it, and she's learning this week. But kind of tell us how it's been going and how do you feel mentally? I guess.
It's been going good. It's just a lot of learning about the company and just like their culture and what they believe in. It's a really good company. They care for their employees. They care for their customers, of course, as well. It's a company this company I've never seen so much. Um, how do I say this? Like they really, really care for their employees, and I have not seen that in any other place that I've worked at. So it really stands out. But like I said, this first week was basically just basic information, talking about the culture and the business. But yeah, it is bilingual, so I am still a little bit intimidated, but I know that I'm capable of doing it. My mom is from Mexico, but the thing is, my mom spoke to us in Spanish, but we wouldn't respond in English. We would never respond in Spanish to my mom. My dad spoke nothing but English to us, so I think that kind of played a part in why we didn't respond in Spanish. So that's why I don't feel so confident because Spanish was not my first language. It was more of like a secondary, but it's not something I used at all.
Yeah,
So, but we'll see. But
we'll
I
see.
like it so far.
I love when you
Thank
talk
you.
about like um your dynamics of being raised because that's what the episode's actually gonna be about.
Yeah.
What kind of want to get into is like how we are both raised differently, but how we had to coincide and become one and taking some pieces of our families and putting them together to create our own family and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So a little bit more details on that. But yeah, she was kind of telling me like every time she would talk to me about work, it literally feels like you're working like at Google or something. Like, like
It's
it's
definitely like a little, I don't know, college or like
like high school again, right? You
it's
said.
literally like high school again. I mean, I'm working for like a bank, but like the call center, so it's pretty massive. We have two cafeterias. We have like our own like gym.
Personal gym, yeah.
The benefits are amazing. Like it's nothing I've ever worked for, so it's really nice, and I hope that I could really make a career out of this. And from what I hear, that's what they want. Like they want to see you go up. They don't want you to keep at where you're at. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
really
your.
good.
You had a big girl job, and now you got like a big girl
Yeah,
job.
I have a big girl job, a woman job.
A woman job, yeah. So, and then we kind of conversated too about that this is actually our first time that we both actually have really good jobs
Yeah,
since got married, because I think we both had a decent jobs when we first got
yeah.
married. But now that we have kids, like this is actually a good job that
I
you
stopped
have.
working for a 5.5 years.
Yeah.
6
Oh
actually.
yeah, because Kay,
No,
right?
it was 5.5,
Yeah.
5ish. Yeah,
And I'm so blessed that I was
yeah,
able. I mean, obviously, God has kept us through that
yeah.
because,
I don't know
like,
how we did it with
yeah,
just your income.
like
I really
crazy.
don't know how we did
I
that.
just told Dorothy, hey, no more Amazons, no more, but not, but definitely like just to see how God blessed us through that and letting you be with Kaylin. And um, I know Liam was kind of different because we had my mother, my Gigi, shout out to
Yeah,
Gigi. She was able to watch the kids, which is a big blessing as well, too.
yeah,
So now to kind of see where we're at now. It's getting kind of harder, in general, just
yeah,
stuff's inflation and all that. But you got this good job, and then hopefully, well, my job right now, we'll be able to kind of rack in some income,
yeah.
um, and just better off ourselves, I think, too. So we definitely have some big
Excited.
dreams, some big visions, that our next chapter that we want to get into. So we're gonna put our head down and just keep running forward. I think this is a season of just you can't stay here. That's what we've kind of been talking about,
Yeah,
right? And it's just for our church family, just in general, other family, and just people that we know. This season it just seems like God is on the rise in a lot of people's lives. So just opportunities are happening for people. So
yeah,
I'm excited. Just to, like I said, keep my head down and just keep going forward and seeing what's going to be best for our family.
yeah.
And so we still want to add rosters to the team.
Just maybe one more.
Yes, one more.
We'll see.
Conversation might be one
We
more.
will
But
see.
if we could get two more down in the future, we'll see. But this
We'll
next one,
see.
I'm gonna cherish it like it's my last one. But we'll see. So yeah, so kind of want to talk to you. When we were kind of talking in the car ride during the week while we are getting coffee. We talked about red flags and green flags.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I kind of want to get into that. I don't know if you have some, but I kind of have some for you, and we can
yeah,
kind of go off that and see.
I do.
I think in general, just for like people that are dating or people that are getting married, I think even like when you're married, there are some red flags, or you hear conversations that people going through, and then you're like, bro, that's a red flag, like So, um, but I do also think I'm a green flag. Sometimes I can be.
You're a green flag?
I think so. I think so. I can be.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people are green flags out there, but I guess we could throw
People will
some.
be the judge of that.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So, do you want to go first or want me to go first?
You could go first. I'm pulling
Okay.
mine up right now. Okay.
So, I only got like a couple, but let's see if I can wing some off the top of my head too.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Red flag or green flag? He always has the nice latest shoes, like the brand new Jordans and all that. He's clean, but he has no car. Is that a red flag or a green
You
flag?
asked me that one. I thought, okay, maybe red flag. I don't know.
Red flag. Why is it a red flag to you? He's
Your priorities are not straight.
There you go.
Like you're spending money on things you shouldn't when you should be in a car.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool when you're in high school, and then when you kind of get older, you're like,
Mhm.
bro, where are your priorities at? Like, you have these, $5,000 shoes.
5,000.
Yeah, there's crazy shoes out there.
Jeez.
Like those golf shoes that I have up there, like those
Yeah.
are crazy. Like Travis Scott, they have a name of a rapper on it. They're so expensive.
That's
Um,
insane. Put my name on it.
Go ahead, shoot.
My turn? Oh, okay. Is it a green or red flag if they are very competitive?
I would say green flag
That's a green flag. Why?
because you always like, because you're super competitive.
I am not. I could care less. You and
I
your
get. I'm
daughter
like,
are
yeah,
very competitive. This guy
yes.
will not
I don't let her
let
win.
his ego down. Like he will make Kaylin lose so she could realize that she's never always going to win.
Exactly.
Which I get the point,
It's the
but
trophy mentality. Like us growing up, '90s kids, even to the 2000s. I would say hardcore 2000s because there's a moment where every kid on the baseball team gets a trophy. There's a moment where everybody gets a pat on their back that they did really good and they really didn't do that good. So I want my daughter to know, hey, not all the time you're gonna win. Like you're gonna lose sometimes, and it's okay. You pick up your big girl underwear up and just keep on going, like and but I do show grace sometimes. I don't just strictly beat her and just. But there's moments when she was, how old was she? She was probably like 3, 4, maybe. Um,
um,
and I remember she would cry that I would beat her up the stairs,
yeah, she would be. I
and
mean,
she'll be upset.
sure, right now she'll still be upset
Yeah,
because she wants to win.
yeah. But I mean, it's just showing her like, hey, like you're gonna lose. But it does. I see her now, and I mean, I haven't seen her in a competitive sport yet, but hopefully it will pay off to the point where like she'll just kind of
Yeah.
you get it next time. So, but I think it's like it could be a red flag and a green flag. I think a green flag because you bring out the competitive inside that person, but also like in the way of working together or you want the next best thing. You want to like be up front.
Like
So
keeping them on their toes, kind
yeah, yeah,
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you guys are both chasing it together. But if that person's like winning and it's putting the other person down
Yeah.
and just saying like, hey, like just pushing them, verbally saying they're not good enough, then I think that's a red
Yeah.
flag. So yeah, yeah. So okay, red flag or green flag? He intros you as a friend but not a girlfriend.
Oh, that. I think it depends.
Why?
Well, okay, hold on. Let me redirect.
If we were dating,
Okay, well, see, if we were dating, yes. If they're not, see, and that's the thing where I get really confused in is like, for instance, my sister, I'm gonna put her out there
blast.
because I'm like, are you? Oh, she says that they're not together, that's not her boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm like, so then what are you? So like stuff
We're
like
friends.
exactly. So like stuff like that. So like if someone introduces you as a friend, you shouldn't take it offensive because you're not dating
Yeah,
or you're saying you're not. You don't want to say that I'm your girlfriend or I'm your boyfriend.
I can see.
There's a lot of youngins that are doing that right now.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, we just hang out." I'm like, "Hang out and do what?" Like,
Yeah. I do see like I can if I put myself in their shoes, the guy hasn't asked the girl out physically
yeah.
and the girl hasn't asked, but they know they dig each other. They're talking on the phone, they're texting, they're going out, but there hasn't been that certified stamp of, hey, we're together. Like,
Yeah.
would you be my boyfriend? Would you be my
It
girlfriend?
really depends. Like if you are just in a phase where you're just like, I don't know, hanging out or what's another word they use? Like we're just
Talking.
yeah, we're just talking. Like if you're like that, don't expect him to introduce you as a girlfriend then.
Mm.
If he did ask you like, "Hey, like, the way you should be." I don't know what kids do nowadays, but if he did ask you like, "Hey, like I really like where this is going. Like, would you want to take a next step further and become my girlfriend, whatever?" Then I'd be upset. But he would introduce me as his girlfriend. If he introduced me as his friend, then obviously, like,
Yeah.
it's a red flag. So this scenario plays so differently because nowadays it's not the way it used to be. It's so different. So depends.
Yeah. I think if you're together and there has been that point where like, oh yeah, we're dating,
Yeah.
but then you go to the family function
And he calls
and
you
he's like, oh
friend.
yeah, this is my friend. Ooh,
Yeah, that's rough.
red flag.
Then you really know like what his intentions
Yeah.
are.
Now, do
Yeah.
you get upset and you're just ticked off the rest of the
Yes.
party, or you're gonna make that plate of food and then take off after that.
Oh no, I'd leave. Or I depends on where we at or like the situation, but I would be upset the whole night and just give him like the cold shoulder.
Cold shoulder. All right, you got another one?
Oh yes, sorry. Um sorry. I had one and it went. Oh, this one. Insist on splitting the check. Green or red flag?
If it's like they're dating, in a sense, or married,
It doesn't say.
what would you say? You want to do
Yeah.
2 scenarios? If married and then single?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say if it's single and you split the check, I think it could be a green flag.
Great. Why?
Because you're sharing the cost. Like you're sharing the cost. Like, but then again, that can also put you in the friend zone. If a girl's splitting a check with me, then I think we're in the friend zone.
Okay.
But as a guy, I'm gonna pay her bill.
Yeah.
Like like so. Um, but on the opposite end, as a woman, like, how would
Yeah.
you feel if we
I
were
would.
dating? I'm like, hey, you want to split this?
I'd be like, definitely not. Like you wanted to go out with me. I wanted to go out with you. Like as a gentleman,
Yeah.
that you're supposed to be pay for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like pay for me.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I always did, and like in
I
general,
actually know someone. I don't think I know someone or I overheard someone telling me this. I can't even remember, but I remember they were saying that they just go on dates to get free meals. And I said, that's so smart. Like they literally just go on dates to get free meals from these guys. Like I don't know if that's a green or red flag,
yeah,
but she literally just goes out so she could get a free meal because she knows that these guys are gonna pay.
yeah.
So I mean,
Guess if you're,
kudos to her.
I guess.
Like if you knew that, would you be upset?
If I called you and like you were like just going on dates with random guys to get free food, yeah, it's kind of. I guess if you put it out there, like you're like, hey, like, but don't egg the guy, like, don't lead the guy on either.
No, yeah, and I don't think she would.
If you're just straightforward,
I
like,
could be
hey,
wrong.
like, I go out with you, but I'm not. But if you're like egging them on, thinking that they have a chance
Yeah.
just to take their food money, you're being a bully. Like you're being a middle school bully, bullying the little
That is
scrawny
so
kid
funny.
for his lunch money. That's what you're doing.
That's
That's
hilarious.
funny. Okay, I got one
Yeah,
more for you.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's for guys, but if she wears falsies, is that a red flag or a green flag?
If she wears falsies?
Yeah, if she wears.
No, I know what you're talking about, but
Is that a red flag or a green flag?
I don't think that's a flag at all.
No.
I mean, I used to wear falsies.
Yeah. You're a red flag.
Was I?
I don't know. I like them. I like the.
No, I
falsies.
know. I know some men don't and some men do, but I didn't know that you liked them until I stopped wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, like, I'm on natural.
And you still look good, but I like
wear
the
my
falsies.
natural lashes.
Yeah. And a lot of people think your naturals are falsies. But
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't consider that as a flag.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I think makeup in general, like obviously women wear makeup, and when you're doing, but when you're like wiping off, and then your whole eyelash comes off, and then you pull off the wig, and you're like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit intense. It says not is this a green or red flag? Not overly romantic, but can make the moments they are very special. Is that a green or a red flag?
You're a green flag. When you're being over romantic, it's like one time, one moment, like one shebang, and then overly, you have multiple times. It's still a sweet moment, but maybe it's not like the extravagant moment. So, but what would you want? Would you want like one moment, like
Well, no, I think that men could be romantic all the time. Am I-
Okay, I guess so.
like that, I know not every man has that trait, but I feel like it should be something that is given at least like not every day, but every other day. There's different ways to be romantic. I would take you being romantic than making the little small things special. I don't know if I would consider that a red or a green flag. Can we do a yellow flag?
I guess, yeah. Right
Like
in
a
between.
cautious,
Cautious.
like just a little warning, like, hey, like this guy's not overly romantic,
Yeah.
but he'll make you feel special.
Oh, I guess so. Yellow flag it is.
We just created a yellow flag. That's hilarious.
So
That was
today,
good. Sorry.
no, you're good. That's fine.
No, I was gonna say that's really good. Like you guys let us know like in the comments what you guys think
What do you
of
consider a
those.
red flag?
Yeah, what do you I mean, there's just so many things you could
Yeah, I would like
consider.
to definitely rate those.
Yeah,
What's a red
yeah.
flag?
But
So
that was a good little segment.
yes. So I really want to kind of going off of what you talked about in the beginning is like your upbringing. And then my upbringing was way different than yours. Yours is way different than mine. But like I said, now that we're together, married for 9 years, together, 19 years together. I still remember August 1st,
Good
2015.
job, babe.
Try to keep. Fun fact: I got married on the first, so I won't forget. So,
No, that was just a date they had.
well,
Well,
it
we were
helped
I
out me
yeah, because we wanted to get married the week before, which was
our
the
anniversary.
date that we actually got with each other, July 25th. But they just had the following week, which is August 1st. So it
And I
is
was
what
like,
it is.
perfect. I'm never gonna forget. It's August 1st. So, but yeah, so I was kind of talking with some people, and then just in general, this podcast, like we had so many people like listening, or they said like, hey, we checked it out, we like it, so thank you guys for that. But also too, like this is I wanted to kind of create something not just parental, but not just marriage either, but just in general like singleness, or people that are not married yet, that are hearing this, what can they expect into getting married or into dating that person? How does the future look? I think obviously when we were younger, we didn't expect. We knew that we were gonna get married, but we didn't know like how that looks like or how fast we're gonna get married. So I kind of wrote something here, and you can kind of give me your thoughts. So, as a single person, you have your own way of living. I think even about joining somebody else's in dating or even marriage, you have your own way of beliefs, your morals, even your own money. How is this transitioning together, or what are some things a single should look into knowing that the person is for me or for marriage? So, I guess my general idea is as a single person, you have your own beliefs, your own way of living, your own money. And then when you're dating somebody, there has to be some red or green flags that you got to see for yourself, I think. And to kind of see, okay, is this person for me? Do I want to be with this person? You know, because reality marriage is everyday battle. I think it's an everyday fight, for love for yourself and then for your family. But there's also some ways of living that you have to give up. There's also some ways of living that you got to figure out together. And if that person that you hold hands with and that you swear under God, that you're there from thick and thin, you got to be able to put up with that person and fight together about some things too. So, how did you, I guess, your way of life growing up, and I could talk about my way of life growing up. We don't have to go into complete details, but how was that? And then your single walk into us getting together. How did that look for you? I would say.
Yeah, so I grew up very different. I grew up in a military home. My dad was in the military, if I'm correct, for at least a good 10 plus years. So when I was small, like I don't remember like my dad being there. I remember us being at home and my mom was only there with us. I remember a lot going to like different bases in Texas to go visit my dad, like where he was stationed at. So he was in the Army Reserve. So yeah, he would move often. But because of that background that he had, my dad was very strict in a lot of things. I was very sheltered in a way. My dad would discipline us, or mostly me. Uh, me and I mean that was about it. I have three. I have two sisters, so it's three of us. So I'd be the one that would get hit the most because I wasn't the best kid. My sister was probably the worst, but of course the first one doesn't get anything. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a lot. I think my upbringing wasn't the best, but it was not the worst. Um, like I said, my dad was really not there at all when he finally like left because he got injured, so I think he went on disability. Um, so he stopped working or he stopped doing the reserves and he was home officially. And I thought things would be different, and it wasn't. My dad and I don't really have a great relationship at all. Um, it's really, I don't want to say it's bad, but I could go like 6 months without talking to him and probably like call him up on or text him like on Thanksgiving or Christmas and be like, "Hey, happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas or whatever." So there was just a lot of that. Like I guess you could say a lot of daddy issues. My mom was also she was from Mexico, so her way of living was really different. And with my dad not being there, she was taking care of like two of us at the time. So it was hard for her. Like I cannot imagine, like I have two of my own. I can imagine taking care of two kids for like long periods of time without no help.
Yeah.
So I guess I understand like that aspect of her cuz like my mom would never hit me, but I was being a really really bad kid one night. My dad was out somewhere, like, in the reserves. And my mom just called my dad because she's like crying, like, I don't know what to do with her. And my dad was kind of like, you just got to hit her. And I didn't think my mom would do it because I said, like, my mom never hits me. But she did. She, like, I think she slapped me across the face and, like, she felt so bad. And I said, oh my gosh, this lady literally just slapped me. But yeah, and like since then, like she never did. Like she like really does not like that. But anyways, my upbringing was really different because of that. My dad was never like affectionate with me or us. My dad never like talked to us. My dad never like expressed his feelings. He was present but not present like with us, like emotionally, physically, like, with love and affection. It's just he would only like talk to us or me if he was about to spank me or get after me or tell me what to do. So it was really rough. It was really, really rough. But my parents are now divorced, and it's crazy because through all of that, I did go through like mentally a lot of like hard stuff. This may be very graphic, but like I would cut myself a lot because I had a lot of like anger towards my parents that I would pray. And I don't know if this is a good or bad prayer, but I'm being very like vulnerable right now. But I would like pray that my parents would divorce. That's how much I hated being there. And I'm telling you, there's worse like family households and what they went through, but I really thought that I was going through the trenches at like 10, 11, 12. I don't even know. Um, but yeah, like shortly after that, I was like in high school already, and some things had happened, and my parents divorced, and I had graduated high school, and I was like, I'm getting out of here. Like this environment is so toxic. Throughout all of that, like me and Gilbert were together, so he
Hmm.
saw a lot of that. He kind of saw how my dad was. I mean, my dad wasn't bad, but I think it's just that disconnection that we didn't have, like, the love, the affection, not even like a communication we had. Like it's literally so weird. Like if you were to sit at a table, just him and I, before or even now. Like, it's just so weird. Like, what do we talk about? What do I say? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so different. And going into like Gilbert's family, like he'll explain, but it's just like I was like blown away because I've never like seen anything like that. And at this time, we were going to church, like we were churchgoers. And that made me so upset because I'd be like, how can he be such a hypocrite?
Mm.
Like, everyone at church thought we were like this perfect family. And I'm like, we're not. Like, we are far beyond that. And it would make me upset. Like, I understood what like hip, I can't say that word, like hypocrite, but
Hypocritical.
no, hypocrisy. Like, I understood what that meant. It's like being hypocrite, but like, just like in general, like
Uh-huh.
being that. Like, I understood what that was. And he would it was a whole flaunt. It was like it just really made me upset. And I think that just like was like the cherry on top. And I'm like, how can you say that you're X, Y, and Z? And like, you didn't even like, yeah. So it was just a lot of anger towards more my father. But I will say this, like, once my parents divorced, my mom obviously was hurt a lot. I was not there through that. I had left to TBI,
Hmm.
Columbus, Texas. And then after that, we came back and we moved to
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
So I was not there through all that process when my parents divorced. And my sister was just telling me a lot of things. And I was like, I feel so bad because I wasn't there. And my little sister had to like be there with my mom and for my mom through the hard times. Like, she would cry every night. My mom obviously loved my dad so much. And like, I didn't know any of this until like 2018, 2019. She was like, you weren't there. Like, you don't know. And I said, oh my gosh, like, I wasn't. And that made me just view things so different. Like, she saw the hurt my mom went through. But I think that the divorce really made my mom to a better person because we have a greater relationship now and she loves us more than she ever did. Not that she didn't love us like when we were young, but because of the way we were raised, like, there was no affection in the house. That if my dad didn't do it, she didn't do it. Like, it's
Hmm.
like a pattern. Like, once you do something or when someone does something, you get used to that
Yeah.
and you're going to end up doing that. So it was kind of like that. So, um, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. It wasn't the worst. I know there's people that have more trauma in their life, but I guess you could say I do have daddy issues, and a lot of that did go into our marriage that I had to learn to separate because that's all I knew. Like, I didn't know how to be loved. I didn't know how it was to be with a man or like, like I didn't know any of those things because I didn't have that example. But I will say this, and I say this all the time, like, because of what I went through, like, I now know what not to do with my kids. Um, because of like just everything. Like, I went through so much, like physically and mentally, and because of that, especially with my relationship with my dad and all that, like, I know now what not to do and what to do, and just to like make sure that I'm doing the best that I can to love all my kids and keep that love like just going because it's hard. It's really hard. I can't say that it's easy, but at least because of that,
Yeah.
I know what to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got really deep.
No, no, you're good. No, that's what I definitely wanted. I'm like over here getting emotional for you. Like, I'm the big emotional one, and then
Yeah,
like you're so strong, like with everything that you've gone through. And I know like your sister was probably like 18, 17,
my
or when
oldest,
everything was no
Michelle.
Michelle when she was born,
No.
she was younger than that.
Well, yeah, I could be wrong. She was like
Probably like
a junior and
17.
a junior senior.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
she was fairly young when all
yeah.
that. So
She used to
I know that
be,
one hurt you a lot. Like,
yeah.
just that your little sister was going through all that by herself.
She
And
used to
then
be, sorry, she used to be like a daddy's girl,
yes,
and
I
now like
remember.
she
Yeah,
resents my dad.
yeah, yeah. And I guess for my family, like, I don't want to say it's a total opposite, but
It really is. It
no, it's
really
just
is.
my mom and dad. My dad was always a hard worker. He was in the police department, and then he was like park ranger back in the day in the 90s, and then SAISD for the police. And yeah, it was my mom and my dad and then my two sisters. Um, and I was the oldest. I was the oldest, and right away, all the time, my dad was like, "You always look after your mom. You always look after your sisters. Like you take care of your sisters, and um, so just always be there. Always look out for them." And we just always had the respect for each other, and our family was like our family's so close knit. We love each other. We used to love hanging out with each other. My sisters were just they're always like your best friend, or they're always my best friends. It'll be like even when I'm older, even to this day. But I remember like living in the house, our old house, and I was in high school, and they would just come over on the weekend, like, and just sleep in my room, and we'll just hang out. We'll quote movies all day, quote Nacho Libre, um, and just laugh, and we'll make YouTube videos, and we're just always together. But we always just had that closeness. We fought like everybody else. We got on each other's nerves, but then we'll team up with each other and pick on one person or whatever it is. So but always it was always like, hey, like respect. But my dad was I don't want to say my dad was never there, but my dad always worked. My dad was a workaholic. Like now I think he can realize that, but he always had like a goal in mind of, oh, I don't want my kids to be raised like I was. Or he always wanted us to be in a bigger home, to have our own rooms, and anything my sisters needed for dance class, like he was always going to try to get it. And he always wanted my mom not to work, because he felt that if he can work by himself and take care of everything, then it will give my mom, time to be with us and to watch us and not put us in daycare or not put us, other people to watch us. So we always raised up like that, and we're just very close knit. And Yeah, I do remember this one time. I was fairly young, and I don't know if my mom remembers or what, but I remember like hardly like my parents fought like in front of us, when we were younger. And I just remember one time they were bumping heads, and I think my sisters were asleep in the room, and then I was upstairs, but I could hear them like arguing downstairs, and I hear my dad yelling. But he wasn't like crazy yelling. He just kind of lifted his voice, and I remember my mom coming to my room. I hope that this is real because I always picture in my head, unless that was a dream. I don't know. So, but yeah, I remember my mom telling me like, "Hey, like, if me and your dad split up or take some time apart, um, are you gonna be okay or something like that?" And I remember crying, and I was like, "No, like, we you can't, you can't do that." And I just remember that moment for like vividly. And no, and I think they figured it out. They talked about it. And one thing about my mom and them, like they always try to figure it out. And I'm pretty sure there's moments like even talking about like with your parents with the divorce. And I'm pretty sure there's been many moments with my family that my parents never mentioned to us about maybe they were gonna get a divorce or they thought about splitting up or stuff like that. But they
Yeah.
always fought, and they always put up with each other. And um, I guess I always admire that because now knowing what I know, there's arguments that happen daily.
Yes.
There's stuff that happens daily, but I think that kind of helped me transition into where I'm at now with you, or just in general as a couple,
Yeah.
married couple, is that like our kids are here, like we got to be strong for the kids. And of course, like if it's abusive or something like that, you should definitely not stay. But we ain't never been to the point where like we're hurting each other or stuff like that. But we're
Yeah.
always trying to figure it out, and we could be heated in moments, but kind of let it out, air out a little bit, and then we'll come back and regroup. And I think that's what shows a strong marriage and shows that I'm upset with you right now. Like you're pushing all my buttons, like you know what you're doing, but I'd rather come and regroup because I love you that much that I'm willing to put up with this and willing to figure it out together instead of just
Yeah.
like my own. So yeah, that was kind of my upbringing. And then I'm always like a family person. I
Yeah.
feel even my friendships, like I'm all about being together, and like birthday parties come around, and I'm always just like, oh man, I cannot invite this one person or whoever it is, because if we talked, or if you like we I followed you on Instagram or something, and I'm like, okay, well that person's my friend now. Like I had to invite him to my birthday party or whatever. But like it's just the way I am. Like I don't ever want people to feel left out, because there's
Yeah.
enough of me to go around, and I just love to be with everybody. And
Yeah.
so that's just me in general. So if you know me, you know me. And if
If
you
you know,
think,
you know.
yeah. And so you're invited to my birthday party if you're watching this. So but yeah, and then I think too, kind of want to go off of, so being together during that time in 2006, that's when we got together. I did notice that um, your dad was very stern, very strict, and then
Hmm.
you used to go through different punishments, like military wise.
Yeah.
Um, but like you couldn't go out on movies, you couldn't go
Mm-mm.
out on dates. Like literally, like I would have to go and watch novellas. Like I don't know any lick of Spanish, so like we would sit
Oh,
down
that's so
in
funny.
this hot house.
Oh my gosh. To you it was hot, but
It
it
was so
wasn't.
hot. It's little
Nah.
Mexico in there. It was just so hot. I mean, my house would be like
Yeah, your
69,
house is a
70,
freezer. Like, who
and
wants to be inside a
your
freezer?
house is like 78. And I'm like, bro, like, but
78. Okay, you're so dramatic.
so we'll sit down in this living room, and then we'll just be together, and I'll watch novellas. I don't know what they're saying, but I could just tell like it was dramatic, like, so
They're always dramatic.
but yeah, we would just do that and hang out, and then sometimes we'll go with your mom to Walmart, or we'll go to
Yeah.
Panda Express, like stuff
Yeah.
like
My mom
that.
loves Panda.
But like I guess for me dating you, like I was cool to put up with that, because I just wanted to be with you. Like,
Yeah.
like I was like I don't. And then he would always try to throw things at me like, oh well, you got to take um
My sister.
Michelle, you got
Yeah.
to take her sisters. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, and then we'll go together, because I mean, I just wanted to hang out. I just want to be with you and
Yeah.
stuff. So, but I know I'm gonna talk about this one moment of us getting together, and then you meeting my family for well, you met them, but like actually,
Yeah.
like there was a moment where she got to leave out the house and actually got to come over.
Yeah.
Um,
For the first.
I don't know
I
what
don't
it
know if it
was,
was
but
the
I
first
just
time.
remember this moment vividly. Like my mom saw you, and then she gave you a hug. She's, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And like all my family, right? They give you a hug, and then right away, like you didn't know how to react. Like your arms were like out. You're like, "Oh, hi!" Like you didn't know like how to hug or anything. Like it was so crazy for me to see that, because I'm like, this is just a regular day of life. Like we're my family.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess for you, like now seeing that, um you didn't really experience that.
Mm-mm. I don't even think we would say hi when we saw our relatives. No, I think we did actually. I can't remember, but it's not something that happened in our household, like with my mom, with my dad. Like you guys say hi, like when you get home from school. Like if you guys went somewhere, it's always like, oh hi, and like whatever. Like for us, it was not like that at all. We were not like affectionate. Like not even with my sisters, we were affectionate. So yeah, it was so obviously very different dynamics between my household and his household when we were dating, and I got accustomed to it, and it really shaped me, um and showed me how to like really be like loving and affectionate, and like just being more open to those things, because I was really really closed off, because I did not know how to receive it, and I didn't know how to like express it or give it out either.
Yeah.
um but I was gonna say about the you were talking about, how like I had to like take my sister in like the dating
Yeah,
phase.
yeah,
But it's funny because like I'm the middle child, so it's my older sister, me, and my little sister. And my big sister, like she was probably one of the worst out of all three of us. Um, she she was crazy. Like she would go out, she would sneak out, and my mom would cover up for her, and I'd be so upset. And I'm like, Daddy said she can't go. And my mom just be like, whatever. But when it came to me, it was like, oh no, like you can't, or you need to take your sister with you. Or if I did something bad, I would get hit. And then my little sister, she was the baby, so she was like the little angel. Like never. It's always the middle child. The middle child gets, I mean, yours is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like for me, like they always say the middle child. And I'm like, yes, I understand because I was the one that got everything. I got hit. I got told I couldn't do this. And like if I did do it, like the consequences would be horrible. So like of course I'm not gonna do it. Like I was scared. But yeah, it was crazy. So, but going back to that, but yeah, it was very different. Even like going seeing my grandparents and stuff was a little bit different. But Gilbert's family, if you know them, you know them. You know that they are just a very loving, affectionate family, and I'm so grateful because I know there's many that don't have in-laws that are like that. I mean, Gilly has to like deal with my side of the family. Till this day, like my dad, it's funny. My dad would. I got in trouble once. At school, I went to a school where they would paddle you. This is like way back in the day, 20s. I was with you, right? 2005, 2006. I would go to school where they would paddle you, and I got in trouble for PDA with I guess one of like my ex boyfriends, and I got home and my dad got upset obviously because he knew, and he's like, "You think you know true love?" He was like, "You don't know anything." He was like, he didn't even say it was puppy love. He was just so upset like about the situation. And like he's always been like that. He's always like, you don't know what love is. You don't even know how to like blah 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 and blah blah blah. So like when me and Gilly started dating, like he probably thought like, oh, this is a joke, like like another one.
Yeah.
And like to this day,
Like
like
we were
he's
young.
yeah, but to this day he still treats you the same way.
Yeah.
Like my dad has never changed. My dad has never like my dad never goes up to my to Gilbert at all. Like Gilly has to go up to him.
Yeah.
Like he will not say hi, maybe here and there. Like it's just so weird compared to like how your parents
Yeah,
are
yeah,
towards me.
yeah.
My mom is different. Like my mom will,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, like the dynamics are just so different. And I'm like I said, I'm just so grateful because like I would rather have in-laws like that than like as a female because I know that other moms, I'm sorry, other wives have in-laws that are horrible, and I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. Like your parents and your sisters have always been so good to me,
Yeah.
and sometimes I feel like so undeserving, but
You are.
it's
No,
I'm not.
yeah. No, and I think too, like also us getting married, um, and then knowing that we were gonna start a family, figuring out each other, like that was it was cool because we knew each other for such a long time before we got married, but then like after that year of being married, we were at my mom's. They let us stay there to save up money, and then we moved into a house later that year.
Yeah,
So we kind of like knew each other already prior. So it wasn't like the awkward year of like, oh, this is the year that's gonna make or
hmm
break you because we like
and
knew each other.
yeah, and I lived with you. I don't know if you mentioned that. I
You
lived
lived
with you.
in the house,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't live with you, but I lived with his at their old family home. Excuse me. Everyone was still living there at the time. His two sisters and him, and I would stay in the room with Corrine. And this was like the whole year and a half that I was engaged. Because, like I said, I did not want to go back to my mom's house.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I did not want to go back living with my dad. I've never lived with my dad ever since they got divorced. And a lot was going on. So I was like, and Gilbert was like, do you just want to come live like at my house? And I was like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to do that. But I mean, sure enough, like his parents, they had like restrictions and rules. So
yeah,
I slept with Corrine. shared a room with Corrine,
yeah.
and that was
Your
fun.
your roommate.
She was my room, or I guess I was her roomie because
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
her room. But
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, I think that you were saying like because we did live like in the same household, like I picked up on a lot of stuff
yeah, for
that this
sure,
guy would do,
for
and
sure.
it prepared me a lot for like when we actually moved in. I literally just like went across the house to go move in. It was so funny. Like
Oh yeah,
when
across
we were,
the-
when we were
in
getting
the
ready,
room.
I was like, wow, I was like, I get to move my stuff over.
He just slid it
It's like
over,
slide it over to Gilly's
literally
room.
down the hallway. Yeah,
Oh, it was
yeah. And
funny.
then we got married, and yeah, I think just you learn each other's techniques, and you know, you learn that your husband likes to leave his socks everywhere.
Still
And
does.
still does, and but you like put up with it, or you figure
Mhm.
out different things. And there's been plenty of talks of,
Oh yeah.
hey, put something back where you got it, or but before being single, you didn't have to worry about it. You're just like, oh, okay, like it's my room, like
Or even staying at your
I'll leave
mom's
it
or
there.
your parents' house in general, because
Yeah, yeah.
you're used
Or my
to.
mom would just always like pick up after us, or
Mhm.
we'll leave cups on the table, then my mom would like clean. And then it was a very like hard switch because Dorothy would be like, "What are you doing? Like, don't leave your cups there. Like,
Yeah.
wash it." And I'm just like, "Okay." And I put it in the sink because before our household, somebody would wash the dishes.
Right. Your mom.
And then Dorothy's like, "Well, no. Like, like if you use it, wash it, put it away."
Mhm.
And like it's just changing those things. And so that was kind of like switching, still to this day and learning. But now it's crazy because now we're teaching our daughter that,
Kaylin.
and we're
She's
teaching
very much
her
like you.
very much, very much. So yeah, so now we're teaching Kaylin to wash the dishes, or she does take out something. Speaking of that, I see the scooter right there. She didn't put the scooter away. So, but usually she's
This
like, "Oh, I
girl.
gotta put the scooter away. Oh, I gotta do this." So, teaching those things to her. But
Yeah.
I think too, like as a single, learning my own traits, learning my own habits, coming into a marriage is like you're trying to do those things yourself, but then you realize like, hey, this other person's gonna put up with it or is gonna say something.
Yeah.
And I think right off the bat, you should say something like, hey, like, I don't like when you do this, or hey, if you see this, because it does get to a point where you get frustrated and then you just latch out. You're like, oh, why
Yeah.
don't you do this? And, I'm not your mom. I heard that a lot. I'm not your mom.
I remember that.
Why
I
don't you
remember
pick up
that.
after yourself, or put the toilet seat down, or whatever it is, like in general. So how, as a single, like you coming into a marriage, being married, how would you go about situations like that of like coming together as one?
If I was single and I
Yeah,
was
like so
about
like you're single, now
okay.
you're getting married, but now you're
Mhm.
coming into a marriage.
Okay.
Like knowing what you know now,
Yeah.
what would you tell single Dorothy before she got married? Like how to go about that that's gonna benefit your future of
I would say the way you speak is a big thing. Like how you approach the situation. And it's something that I'm still learning. But like I could come off very aggressive.
Yep.
And I come off aggressive because I am like already like really like you already know like X, Y, and Z needs to be here. So I think I would say the way you
Communicate.
communicate and like relay that message, and also just understanding that it's it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process. That it is a teamwork. Something I always tell Gilbert, like we do this together. We don't do this alone. Um, but I think the biggest part is because I feel like I that's where I struggle is like communicating it towards you and you not getting upset or how to say it or like you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
maybe in a softer tone, not so
Yeah.
like aggressive, and
Yeah.
because I could very much be like that because in
Real
my
blunt.
yeah, very blunt, because in my mindset I'm like you should already know this, like this is not like a foreign language or this is not like rocket science or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think I would say that because like my parents were very, or my dad was very like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and that's probably where I get it from.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, just like like communicating that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
because I feel like communication is obviously always key,
Hmm.
but the way you deliver it too
Yeah, for sure.
is another key.
Yeah. Yeah. I think um it's all, you know, how do you say, the honeymoon phase of like you
Yeah,
getting married, and yeah, those are all good things, but then it comes to a point where like you do have those conversations of like, hey, like I don't like the way you do this, or there's a way that you can tell me. So
yeah,
setting that time of like, because then you can come off right off the back and that person's just ticked off, and that
yeah,
person's just like, what the heck, like I always done this. Like if you if you didn't want me to, if you didn't want me to be like this, then you shouldn't have married me or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know. But it comes to a point where it's like you realize, okay, as a man, you're not the only one in this relationship. Like there's two of you now. So whatever way you were raised by your mama, and you know you're a mama's boy or whatever it is, like you got to get away from those things and
Yeah.
you know detach yourself from being, you know, being there, and start to learn some new ways of how you can be together as one. And happy wife, happy life, you always hear that. And there's some times that you gotta put up some things, or you know, I mean, I think too, like me being a gamer, like I wasn't a big gamer, but I did have time where I played my
Yeah.
PlayStation. I didn't have time when I do that. But there's some, I mean, I think prior, before, people used to play, you know, I talked to somebody, and they said like, oh yeah, I was playing like 8 hours a day.
That's insane.
And
That's a whole full-time
I was
job.
like, that's a job. And then I was like, well, how does your wife go about that, or how do you go about it? But I remember you used to get off of work at 2:30, and then you used to get home around 5. With your first
Yes.
job.
Yeah.
So right away, I was like, okay, that's my perfect time. So I'll come home, and then like I'll play the game
Yeah.
until you know you get home, and then I turn it off, and I'm like, okay, now I got my little gaming fix out or whatever. But like figuring out those things of, okay, I can change this, I could do this, put this time in, and then
Yeah.
of course is like asking those things too, like, hey, like, can I play the game, or we're about to go to sleep. I can kind of get in a
Squeeze
game,
in.
squeeze in
Yeah.
sometime, but like be vulnerable and ask those things because, and then I think as a guy, we just intend like, oh, she's not gonna get mad, but
Yeah.
until we're doing it, then it's very much like it comes out,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, you didn't say anything before, and I don't have to
Yeah.
say anything, you know.
Yeah.
So that stuff as
I
well.
think the silent treatment, it could be very um it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a very internal thinker.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm just like,
And we can talk about that. You want to talk about that?
hello.
Yeah. So recently, we're in the car, and then we're talking about Kaylin going to school. So I hear this. I'm driving, and all I hear is, "Okay, I need you to do something." And then right away, I'm like,
And I was trying to come off really like nice about it.
yeah.
Try.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't straightforward or nothing, but I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
so it's like my mind literally goes to like, okay, she needs me to do something at the house. She needs
And I
me to like,
figured that
she
was
needs me to
gonna
hang another mirror that she's gonna give away. She's gonna, you know, whatever. And then she's like, I need you to call, because at my job I have more, I guess, open time to be on the phone. So she's like, I need you to call the school and get her all that set up. So literally, she's talking to me, and then my left side of my brain is going like picturing out how
in
I can do it.
circles.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I can call during this time. I can't call like before lunch or after lunch because that's when they're like barely coming back from lunch. So like I'm processing all these things, and then she's telling me something on this side. And then so like I look to the left, I'm just kind of like looking out the window as I'm driving, and then you said, what'd you say? You're like, hello.
Oh yeah, I gave him like a good minute or so, like for a response.
And I'm processing everything
And
in my
I'm
head.
just like, um, is that okay? Like, are we good? And then you just went, yeah. And I said, is it bothering you?
And I was like, no. It's like,
I was like, is this a bother that you have to call the school for your daughter?
and first of all, I was like, okay, you're telling me something, so like I already know I have to do it.
Yeah.
You're not asking me, you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So I already know I'm gonna do it. So I can't say no. So I'm gonna do it. So that's already a yes already in my mind. I'm processing how the thing's gonna go out, how I need to go about it because I need to do it on Monday. So like I'm just processing everything. So I was like, I already got it under control. So when she said it, but she wants me to be like, yes, baby, you know, I understand. Like I got you.
Yeah.
And I could be like that, but literally like I'm like AOL like downloading, getting into the internet in my
You
head.
need to
Like,
get up to 2024.
dude,
You need to get up to 2024.
I'm still on dial up in the 90s.
My God.
You know, so that was just something. And then I was
Yeah.
frustrated. I kind of lashed out and I told her,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think she thought that through either. Of like, at least on my end, like, oh, he's
No,
processing it.
I didn't, because like literally he's just like staring off into space. He's driving and I'm talking to him and I feel like he's already shutting down Because he tends to like shut down when I ask him to do something, especially if I don't deliver it quite nice or the right way. So like I was really trying to deliver this like, in a good manner because I don't want him to get upset. Like I don't want to be like, you need to do this. I was just like, I would really like it. Or I think I said like I forget what I said. Like I need I don't want I think I said I need you, but it was more like you have to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But I said it like in a more like nicer way because I was like explaining to him like I don't have time. Like they don't open till like 8. I go in at 8. Their lunch break is my lunch break. I don't get off till 4:30. They get off like at 3 or 3:30. So like my crunch time, I just have no time. So anyways, but I was like, are you okay? Because if you were to see him,
Yeah, I
he's
was.
just like not here. And I'm like, okay, babe. And that's why I was like giving him some moment because I was like, maybe he'll respond. And like, yeah, I would
I was just
love that.
like, yeah. I was like, okay.
But like his face, I always tell him he has like the worst RBF
RBF
face.
face.
Or yeah, RBF face. And like that's the face he was kind of giving me. And I was like, dang, he's upset. So like in my mind, I'm like, okay, like, are we good? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like like off the back, I'm like, "Are you upset?" Like I'm triggered, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Are you upset?" You're like, "No, like I'm just like like he told me literally everything he just said, and I'm like,
Processing.
"But you act like I'm supposed to know that."
And I agree. I didn't let
Yeah,
you know.
and
I'm
and
just gonna
I would,
put a little green flag and be like processing.
but I would love for you. Like I tell him, I was like, just like say like, "Okay, babe, like I got it," or something simple, so I know like, okay, like we're good.
Yeah, and I need to be better than that. But
Yeah,
I just literally I
yeah.
just processes in my thoughts, and I'm like literally picturing my how my
When?
day's gonna
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah, yeah.
down on Monday,
And when he explained
and
that, I totally understood.
because that's how I am even with podcasts. Like
Yeah,
I had to like I can't just wing it. Like it has to be some kind of
yeah,
like okay, there's a
a
process. So
structure of
yeah,
like
yeah,
how to do it. Yeah,
some kind. So
but like we're just learning.
yeah, we're still learning. Year 9.
Almost 10 years in, and like that's what it is.
I want to get to the point where like year 70 and like we're still learning. So
70. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I mean I'm going up there.
I pray. Never mind. I was gonna tell them that your sweet little soul thinks that you're gonna make it to 100
Oh yeah,
years.
yeah, I'm making to 110.
I mean, I pray you do. Hey,
For,
anything is possible.
yeah. So, but yeah, I think too, going back to what we were talking about, like a couple of things I want to touch on is like, I guess you as like say you were single, knowing what you know now, being married to another person with with a different belief, like how do you feel about that in that general?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard because from what I've seen, from what I've heard, like one converts to the other, or the other converts to the other
Hmm.
religion.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I really don't know. But you reminded me too. I wanted to mention this, but I think you guys know that we met at church. But like I mentioned before, like my family growing up, we all went to church, and as of now, like I'm the only one
Oh
that
yeah.
goes to church. My dad was a Catholic before. My mom was a Catholic, and my dad converted my mom into a Christian. So that's crazy now that I'm thinking about it.
I guess for me, like it talks about in the Bible that you gotta be equally yoked and have the same beliefs because I think it's just the morals are different and the cultures are different. So it's best to have the same mindset so you don't have to go through those things. I
Yeah.
feel, but to each his own. To each his own. I think if you're willing to love that person, then you'll go through and choose the best what's best for both of you guys. I think I would try to have somebody that has the equal mindset and belief as me because I think it would have been harder
Yeah.
to because we did grow well my dad was Catholic and I remember when my mom and us started going to church, a Christian church, he was very like upset about it or very like he was very, oh, why are you guys going to church? And he thought my mom was having an affair
Mm-hmm.
because of how, like how happy like she would be, and
Yeah.
we would come home like singing like church songs, the cantinas, and we're like all jamming all these like Christian songs, and
Yeah.
my dad would be like, "Are you having an affair?" And just the joy that she had, but like not saying anything about Catholics or anything like that, but their mindset and their structure is different on what church is.
Yeah.
So I can see the disbelief or the difference between both and how one can assume another thing. So, um, and
Yeah,
then
for
two,
sure.
I think also too like even bank accounts and stuff.
Oh
I
yeah.
know I don't know how a lot of people go about it, but I know a lot of people
They have
when they're
joint.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. I mean I know we do,
Well,
but
I hear that's the way to go, but again,
there's some people that
that
have their
don't.
own money
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're very
Yeah.
independent and they don't want to they don't want to share their money, which I understand, but like I feel like for us, I mean, we came into this marriage like, okay, we're joining. Like right when we got
Right.
married, we
Yeah, yeah,
joined
yeah.
right away.
Your money
We,
is my money.
exactly. And your Amazon purchase or my Amazon purchase.
Yeah.
You know, so, but like I think because we don't see that of like, oh, this is my money, because it's like being selfish in a sense,
Yeah.
and like we're a family, like we're gonna pay the bills together, like. So I don't know. I can't see myself thinking like that, like, oh, this is just my money,
Yeah.
because it's not gonna work. And then it's just I don't know. It's just
I
my
don't.
mind's like
I'm like trying to think like how did they do it back in the day? Like back in the day, like how did married people do that? Because I don't know where. I don't know if it was like church or someone like at work or some a friend that just kind of. If it was, it was always said that if you are married to have like a joint account.
yeah,
Maybe it was the bank. I don't know.
nah,
But like
no.
they just said like, it's best if you guys have a joint account,
I
which
mean, think about it. Back then,
I
men were heavily like workers,
yeah.
and they were the one that was bringing in
Oh,
the
that's
money.
true.
So there
And
was
women
always
wouldn't.
them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
And
that
then
makes sense.
later on, women started working, and
Yeah.
but then it's like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
better if you're together because obviously your
Honestly.
paychecks are bigger.
Right.
And then, but I could see where, like, at a selfish aspect of, well, I want to buy the PS5.
Right.
I do, but
Well,
like,
that's why you get like a credit card or something.
eh,
We don't have
we
credit cards.
we don't have credit cards. We
But
try to be debt free, but
yeah.
if you can save together and like have
Yeah.
like, okay, like, hey, this is a big purchase I want to buy. Eventually we could work to those things together. But if
Yeah.
as a selfish person, or I don't want to even say selfish, but maybe like as a single minded person, it's
A
like
self-minded person.
it's like I'm gonna worry about like I'm gonna get it because it's my money. I worked hard for it.
Right.
I'm gonna pay for
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna get it. But when you're married, it's like it's best to have communication about those things. Because
Oh
I don't know how
yeah.
you would feel like if I came one day with the PS5 and like the new NCAA game and like
I'd be like, where are you getting
three.
all this money
I'm like,
from?
oh, I got it from our savings, and you're like, what? Like, like it's not a. And then my kids like need diapers, and I'm like, oh no, I
Right.
got the PS5. Like, you know.
Priority, that's a red flag. Priorities are
yeah.
not right.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. You gotta let us know too. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anybody that we know that don't have joint accounts.
I know someone, but they're not married, which is very valid.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
it is what it is.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, I would say as a single person, finding those morals in yourself, find
Mhm.
what works for you, and
Yeah.
then the significant other person that you have, or you're maybe thinking about getting with or getting married with, look at their way they treat their family, their parents.
Yeah.
Because like we said, our stories are very different.
Yes.
Dorothy's household was very different than mine, but it came to a point where now we're together and now we're taking the good things out of both families and trying to input it. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is us agreeing on things together, not to the point where it's like, well, my family did this, and
Mhm.
then but because my parents used to put. My mom's gonna kill me. I swear, my mom used to put us in bed by 7 o'clock. My mom says no, but
No, I think us too. I mean,
me and Abby used to look outside and the sun would be out. I'm like, this is still daylight outside.
Yeah.
Like, why is this lady putting us to sleep early? If she did, kudos to her because she needed her time. Like, I
Right.
think probably she's like, shoot, these kids are driving me crazy.
yeah. That was her
I'm gonna drink
downtime.
my large Coke with some ice, put these kids to bed,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna watch my 2020, whatever she was watching. She used to watch Lifetime. So us very much the same. But we put our kids in by bed by 8:30 when
Yeah,
school starts, both of them. But now we're getting
we
to the
try.
point where Liam is staying up and he's keeping
Hmm.
his sister up. So
Yeah.
that's why we're also praying for another house because then we could separate them
Yes.
and then Kaylin could go to sleep and then yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, any closing thoughts on or what you have for like singles getting into I guess combining another person or another significant other into the mix of like for marriage and stuff.
Um, no, just kind of to piggyback what you were saying, like just make sure, like, I think it's important that you have your morals s- the same. It'll be more easier for you. I know nowadays, if you do the dating apps, like it tells you like what are your beliefs and like what is blah blah blah, and like it'll match you up to someone that's like specific to that, which I think is smart because like no one, not everyone has the same, but I mean, I would say that because not that I was looking for that at 14,
Yeah.
but it just came to me, and thankfully it just like, you know, did on its own. But I think just that, and just if you are single, I'd say just focus on yourself. I think that's so important. And I think that's something that I really wish that I did when I was literally 14 when I got with Gilbert. So my single life was short-lived. Like we were together for so long. And if you are single and you've been single or you just got being single, I say really, really, really pay attention to your singleness. Find yourself, find what you love, find what you really like to do. Like, do all the things that you can as a single person because once you are with someone and you get married, like now it's just both of you, and not that it's a bad thing, but it's like not just you, but it's you and someone else. And you'll learn how to love that person because you took that time to live yourself. You took that time to be on your own and understand, like, okay, like if I'm able to do these things for me, then I could do that for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important. Like, I always tell single people, I love that you're single. Stay single until you feel like you're ready or until God tells you that you're ready. Because that just means that you have a lot more time for yourself, to understand yourself, to love yourself, to get yourself to where you need to be mentally, physically, to be with someone that's going to be able to like maintain you, I guess.
Hmm.
Because it's so important. Like, you need that time. And I had to learn to find myself throughout all of this. And not that it's bad or hard or easy, but I think being single just gives you that capability of doing that. But yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say as a single person, definitely find yourself. Do
Hmm.
those things that you can't do when you do get older. Because
Right.
one thing I know, like Dorothy's a very adventurous person. Like she wants to zip line, she wants to like go scuba diving, like do all these crazy things, and I don't. Like I'm like, look, I'm
He's
cool.
like,
Like
just let me lay
man, let me be
down.
on a cruise, and like I'm cool. Like I'm in the water, and that's all I need.
You're in a boat, not in the water.
Well, the boat's in the water. That's when we're on the water. Like that's cool. But Dorothy's the
Yeah.
other person that's like, oh yeah, I want to go rock climbing. I want to go zip lining. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you can do that. Like whatever. But I do feel like I took that away from her, getting married or just being
But it wasn't
together.
a bad
It wasn't a
thing.
bad thing, but
Yeah.
still, I think about that. Like if I wasn't in this picture, like you would have experienced those things
Hmm.
prior
But
because
I
you
can still do it
weren't.
now.
Yeah, you can, but it's just different. Like
No, I get it.
that's
I
what I'm
get
saying.
it.
Like
Hmm.
if there's things that you want to do and achieve, like do those things. Like shout out to Gianna and Izzy because like they're the ones like they're going to like Vegas, going to
Yeah,
concerts and
they're
like
living their life.
but they're doing it together. But I know for sure they were like
Yeah.
they both were like that already prior
Hmm.
before, and now they're just doing it together. So shout out to you guys. But just in general, like find your peace, and then look, you're like you don't even have to be getting married like at the
No.
point. But once you do want to make that transition into like, okay, I think I'm ready to get serious with somebody. Look at those morals. Look at the culture. Look at what they believe. If they're gonna lift you up or they're gonna bring you down. Look at the way they treat their moms, their
Yeah,
sisters.
that's so important.
Because that's the way they're gonna treat you.
Yes.
And I think once ask those questions. Don't be ashamed to like, hey, like, what do you think about joint accounts or what do you think like
Right.
ask those questions already. Like, what, like, hey, what do you think about? socks being laid across the floor, like, whatever it
And I
is.
think that's so important nowadays
Yeah.
because a lot of people, like I see on TikTok, like a lot of like millennials or like the generation after us, is that right?
Millennials, Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z. Um, they're like at the point where like I don't have time um to date.
Hmm.
Like tell me what you want. This is I'm like gonna lay out all of this, so just let me know like if this is what you want.
It's so much in
Yeah.
front of you already.
And I love that because it's like you're not here to mess around. Like you're not here to play games. You're here to, but obviously like find the right person. But
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like don't wait 5 years and be like, oh, so like this is what I deal with and this is my trauma. And this is like how my mental state used to be. And like, like I think it's smart to start at the beginning
Yeah, yeah.
so you
Don't
don't
be on
like.
first date though and be like,
No, not the first
hey,
date.
these are my
No, no,
red
no, no.
flags.
Yeah, don't do that because then you'll probably scare the
Yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah. But start working
In the
up to
beginning,
that.
yeah.
Start working up to that and see. And just make sure you're on the right page. And then if you're not, you're not. I do think going back, I don't want to say go back, but I do think about like nowadays dating. Like I saw this video and it's one of those YouTube videos of like it shows people like the swipe left, swipe right or whatever.
Oh, the dating app?
Kind of like the dating app, but they go off first appearance. So they both look at each other and then they either agree or they disagree. And it was like 20 people, and not one of them matched with each other because either one liked them, the other person didn't, or both of them didn't like each other. And like it was so sad because
That's
there's nothing expressed. They're not
right.
even saying anything. They're just going off looks.
A picture.
And then one girl thinks that she's too good, and then the guy's like, "Oh, like I think I'm decent," but she wouldn't give him a time of day just by first, and then they both just swipe left, so they don't, or they
Yeah.
don't match. And I was just looking at that, and I was like, man, it's kind of sad. Like,
There's more to looks
yeah,
than
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I mean,
It's all about your heart.
and it's just like I think like nowadays that's what it is. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
it's how
just
you look
social
your
media,
parents.
and just
Yeah.
apps in general. Like it's just like, are you physically pleasing to me physically? If not, then I don't give you the time of day.
Yeah, these Gen Zs, even millennials, even myself, like we have people on TikTok. Like we have TikTok. And TikTok's intimidating for girls, for
Yeah.
like moms, like a wife, a single, like any girl, lady, social media is intimidating
Yeah.
because we feel like, oh, we have to look like that, or we have to like sing like that, or we have to do this like that. And yeah, that I've never seen that website or that dating app,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's
It
a
was
little
just a video.
sad.
It was a video of like
Yeah,
they're like reenacting like what it would be
it's
on
so
an app.
sad.
So I'm just saying, don't compare yourself to social media.
No.
Come to a realization that you
Yes.
are who you are.
Yeah.
You're beautiful the way you are, and you're doing just fine. And there's somebody out there that's not on social media that's gonna like you for who you are.
Yeah.
If you want to push like your limits, then I would say cook. Learn how to cook. Cook a good
Wow.
cook a good meal.
I feel like you're putting me on
No, I'm not, because you
blast.
cook. You're good. I just cook more. Just learn how to cook. Cook something like really good, and then pick up on like some basketball or something, like and like
Cooking and sports.
cooking and sports.
Oh,
And
okay.
then if you
I could see that.
game a little bit, guys always like a girl that they can play game with. And just in general, I think like
Yeah.
a guy's to a man's heart is to his belly. So you feed him, and then
That is
just
hilarious.
and
Guys,
just be a joy around.
Yeah. We're not professionals. Like, obviously, we're just giving you advice
Yeah,
that we think is knowledgeable or like what we came from, like our backgrounds.
yeah.
And like
Our old selves.
our old selves are like 30 plus years selves here. But we also want like to create that relationship with a lot of the single people because in some ways we are going to relate.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this stuff is relatable.
Or we gone through something.
Or we've
that you're
gone,
going
yeah,
through.
right, yeah.
So if you have any questions for us, let us know.
Yes.
Put it
And
on the
let us know.
comments.
I really want to know what the Gen Zs or like even like our generation, or the millennials really think what a true red flag is.
Yeah, put your red
'Cause
flags in the comments.
there's just so many. I'm just like, which one is and which one isn't. They have a thing now that's a green flag that we did earlier, but I really want to do like a yellow
A
flag.
yellow flag, like what's okay.
Like a caution, like a caution, like okay, caution, like this one may be a little bit, sensitive, but you could still pursue it. I don't know, like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. I don't know.
That'd be funny.
It
Yeah,
would be funny.
yeah.
They should do a card game like that.
That'd
That'd
be
be
funny.
really cool.
That again. So again, guys, thank you guys
Yes,
for
thank
watching
you.
the Homebody Podcast. We
Homebody.
enjoy doing this. I think we went on a lot longer than we
I
expected
know we
to.
did. This was a long
So hopefully this
podcast.
was edifying and
Yeah.
good and entertaining to you
To you
guys.
yes.
Um
And if you stay this far, thank you. We love you.
yes, if you stayed this far in the episode, thank
You're
you.
a true homebody fan.
Make sure you like and share this video. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all those good things, and
And on
subscribe.
Instagram.
And on Instagram, follow us, subscribe to all those. It helps us out tremendously, and we're excited for this empire to just grow, this homebody empire. And I think we're at 73 followers on
Oh, wow.
on
YouTube.
YouTube. So thank you
Fun.
guys for that.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
And I think you covered it all.
That's it.
Yeah.
So again, guys, thank you guys for watching.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
big shout out to Gladys and Roderick. By the time this episode's out, they should have their
Yes,
twins
they're gonna have
already.
their twins already. They're gonna
So-
be full-time mom and dads of a little boy and a little girl.
Yeah.
Full-time parents.
So you guys are watching this. We're like pre-future, but by the time you're watching
Yes.
this, we'll be in the future.
Right.
So congratulations to you guys.
Yes,
They're
they're having
they're
twins.
having
A
twins.
boy and a girl.
So hey, welcome
So
to Father
cute.
and
We
Parenthood.
love you.
We love you guys.
I'm
and,
praying for you, Gladys, all the time, girl, because
yes.
I know how it is.
Yes. And shout out to
Yes.
everybody else. Marty talked to us on Sunday too.
Oh, yes.
So we're just giving all of our shout outs. We love you
We
guys.
love every single one of you guys.
Thank you guys for the follow. Thank you for everything, the
Yes.
support. We'll see you guys on the next episode, Homebody Podcast. We out.
Bye.
This has been another episode of the Homebody Podcast with Gilly and Dorothy. Tune in every Monday for a new episode.